Hi, Cancer Sun and Rising. Welcome to your December 2023 Astro Update. It's Rena here. I can't believe I'm doing the last month of 2023. I'm recording this in mid-November just to give you an idea, and I have a feeling that a lot of you will actually be listening, during the last half of November to this recording. The reason that I want to mention that is that there is a situation going on, and it is, it's going to continue throughout December and even into January, where your opposite sign of Capricorn and your opposite house, the seventh house, is being impacted because Pluto is now direct in Capricorn. It went back into Capricorn, I believe in October. Not entirely sure, but I believe it was October. And it was really like kind of excavating a relationship from the inside out. That's what retrogrades do. Sometimes we're applying energy in an outward direction. We're going for something. When planets are direct, when planets are retrograding, it's a time of reflection. It's a time of, reassessment and things of that nature. And Pluto, because it's such an agent of transformation, it's really like looking at transformation from the inside out. So when you have Pluto transing your seventh house, a relationship can transform you personally. You can be transformed through a relationship. Now, no one can ever change you per se, but the very act of being in a relationship, which is something that you are contributing to, it's not just somebody else loving you into you changing. It's a combination. That kind of thing can happen, but then you also have the possibility when Pluto's in the seventh of marrying somebody who is very controlling. Or maybe both of you are controlling, and that leads to problems in the marriage or the equivalent type of relationship, a serious partnership, and, conflict ensues. So the bottom line is that if you have experienced this, now that Pluto is direct, but it's still in this house until the third week in January of 2024. So you may have some kind of relationship issues that you're still contending with. And on the first of the month, Mercury goes into this seventh house too. And Mercury is actually going to retrograde here on December 13th. So keep that in mind, because when Mercury goes retrograde, there might be some kind of misunderstanding with a partner, or the seventh house can be legal affairs. And so a contract may need to be reworked. Something may be not as it should be. And so there is this need to kind of go over it again. On the 4th, Venus goes into Scorpio. Very interesting, because Scorpio, for you, Cancer, being a fellow water sign, it trines you, which is very nice, but it's coming from the 5th house, which is the house of love and creativity. But it makes me wonder, does Cancer have somebody else? Is that why there is something going on with Pluto and with, those kinds of challenges, that have been occurring in the seventh house? Do you have somebody that you are in love with, that you want to form a relationship with? Maybe you're dating that person. Venus in the fifth house can also be good for creative self-expression, but also the appreciation of art. Venus is about beauty, and the fifth house can be creativity, but it's also the house of pleasure. So you may be like opening yourself up to pleasurable things. The fifth house are leisure activities, which we also call hobbies. And some of these things may bring you great pleasure during this time, but it could be something love related. You did have a new moon here on November 13th, so there you go. On the 6th, Neptune turns direct at 24.53 Pisces, which is like almost 25 degrees of Pisces, another water sign, and this is coming from your ninth house side. So wow, kind of an interesting area to have a transit Cancer, the ninth house, Neptune in the ninth. I think that some Cancer people are becoming more spiritual and mystical. And this has been an ongoing thing since Neptune has been in Pisces since 2012. This is not anything recent, this ninth house transit. But there's something in the last few months that may have been disillusioning about your spiritual life. There might have been a reality check. Sometimes this is as simple as you were going to some kind of yoga center and you discovered that there's something about it that rubs you the wrong way. You don't like, the things that they're teaching. Maybe it's just one little thing. And I was thinking about this spiritual center that I was going to for quite a while, and I overheard the director complaining to one of to the person that was holding a shamanic journeying workshop that I was about to attend, and said, how someone was trying to get in for free and all of this stuff. And there was something about it that rubbed me the wrong way, because I felt like, this type of environment, even if somebody was trying to kind of scam their way into something, maybe they honestly don't have the money, but they want to have the experience. It's not like stealing a pair of Nikes or something. It's really like a lot deeper than that. And so I don't know. I feel, but I'm the kind of person where I'm not going to just write something off because I have one negative or I experience one negative thing. But these are the kind of things that happen where you kind of question it, and you say, is this really what it's purported to be? Are these people really spiritual, or are they, just, kind of worldly, even being in this environment? And I think, people are still human and they can have certain reactions. Maybe they have certain areas that they still need to work on. And that includes me, believe it or not. So if something, did happen that made you question what you were following or who you were following, maybe it's some kind of a guru, a spiritual teacher. Now that Neptune is direct, there can be this feeling of resolution, and maybe you feel like hopeful again, or hopeful isn't really the word. When I think of Neptune, I think of that sense of being able to merge with the spiritual. I mean, that's what Neptune represents. And being able to dream and be able to be idealistic. There's this idealism. And, you know, one saving grace, too, is that Saturn is also in Pisces for the next few years. So some of you may even be pursuing some kind of yoga training, teacher training program, or other kinds of careers that have a spiritual bent to them. And that might have been the cause of your disillusionment. Maybe something happened that wasn't really what you were expecting, and it felt like a letdown. It's really important when Neptune is transiting this house, Cancer, that you don't have an inflated sense of something. Maybe it's overly idealistic, because then the letdown can be very great, and yet it might not be such a big deal. It might not be so bad, but you're reacting to it that way because you really want it to be something that perhaps it never was going to be. But it still doesn't mean that it's not going to, lead to something great that will be aligned with your soul. On the 12th, we have a new moon at 20 degrees of Sagittarius. This is your 6th house of work, which I call service to others, as well as health. And it's your daily routine. One or more of these things may change. Maybe you are getting a new job and it has different hours. So the routine that you have already been following is going to radically change. This can be a new health regimen. It can be so many different things. Maybe it's a different line of work that you're going into. On the 13th, the very next day, Mercury goes retrograde at 8 degrees of Capricorn. So here we have that 7th house situation happening. And I do want to say that Mercury will go back into Sagittarius on the 23rd. So the day before Christmas Eve, Mercury goes back into Sag. So that goes into your 6th house. So there's a possibility that some of you are going through some kind of mediation with work, because the 6th house is work and Mercury is going back there. And it might have something to do with a promotion that you were promised, or a raise that you were promised, or that you were rejected getting, and you feel like it's not fair and you're going over the head of your boss. So some of these things may come into play. On the 21st, the winter solstice, Sun goes into Capricorn, so the Sun's going into your 7th house, and that's positive energy going into this area. On the 26th, there's a full moon in your sign, 4 degrees 58 minutes of Cancer. Basically, that is 5 degrees of Cancer. So wow, that is pretty interesting, coming right after the holidays. And I realize that some of you may not celebrate Christmas, but we still call them the holidays because there are a lot of, religions beyond Christianity that celebrate holidays around this time, or more than one, I should say. And also, people get off, even if they're not part of that holiday, they still get off of work, and they may even celebrate in their own way. And the reason that I'm bringing up the holidays in the first place with you is because being a Cancer, there is this strong aspect of tradition that is, I feel like a lot of Cancer people love the holidays. And I'm sure that there are outliers, just like there are with, everything in life. But I think a lot of you probably get very nostalgic, maybe thinking about your own childhood, and you just love being with family. And so something, because of that, and the things that are going on with your seventh house, which is possibly indicating situation with your marriage, if you are in a marriage or equivalent type of relationship, where this is like when there's a full moon, it's an opposition between the sun and moon. So the full moon is in your sign, in your first house, opposing that seventh house. So it really is this idea of putting the spotlight on yourself. And the reason this is so important for Cancer is I think a lot of Cancers are vulnerable to codependency. And this is because you're very caring. It's easy to not be codependent if you're self-absorbed, right? So if somebody is very nurturing, as Cancers tend to be, it's easy to lose yourself in a relationship and be more concerned with that person's well-being than your own. And if you've had, a problematic relationship, something may happen, and perhaps it is happening over the holidays, which really makes it clear that something has to change. And you realize the only person you can change is yourself. So that full moon can give you a realization, and maybe even ending something that you typically do or how you present yourself to others. On the 30th, Jupiter goes direct at 5 degrees of Taurus. This is the same degree that back in October, late October, we had a lunar eclipse, and that was the last one in Taurus for that eclipse cycle with Scorpio. And it was at 5 degrees as well. Only the minutes differed. And so that's a very tight conjunction. Well, when I say conjunction, it's not really conjunction, but the same degree. Now, for you, Taurus is your 11th house, which is the house of friendships and groups and your gains. That's very interesting, because gains meaning your profits from work or the business that you own. And, hopes and wishes. So I wonder if some Cancer people might have been fighting for making more money, and that was some reason why there had to be a some kind of legal inquiry or some kind of legal settlement or something along those lines, because you were not getting what you deserved. And with Jupiter in this sector of the 11th house, it could indicate from now, when Jupiter turns direct in particular, until May, when it goes into Gemini, which is your 12th house, that you may see an increase, an expansion of your profits, or that you do get that raise. So that is a possibility for sure. Uranus is also in this house, so that might even be an unexpected gain, perhaps.